Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems and welcome back to MX Simulator, where today we're playing the 9th round of the 2020 Supercross series from Atlanta this week. And listen to this, I'm riding a 250F this week. I decided, little executive decision if you will, that my riding has been so terrible on a 450 that I have to demote myself back down. I have to go back to a 250F. I need to start slowing my pace down. When I was playing this game these last couple weeks, I was just like riding so far over my head, my comfort zone. And so normally when that happened in the past, I would always go back and ride a 250F for a couple weeks so that I could feel what it feels like to have a lot less power in this game, which for me worked, honestly, quite a bit. And so I think video-wise, it might actually help today because it'll maybe produce a little bit better video where it looks like I'm actually semi-riding the track decent, even if my lap times don't suggest it. It still is just going to be more a little consistent lap times, I think, so hopefully that works out. But, yeah, this is Atlanta. Interesting track this week. As I usually do with these videos, I'm going to kind of preview the Atlanta Supercross this weekend and talk about some of the things that have happened this week that we can kind of hit on coming into the weekend. But talking about the track first, I don't know, like I feel like pretty normal track layout, like nothing really stands out to me as like, oh, that's going to be a big, kind of difference maker. I think both rhythm sections on this side of the track are going to become like, I don't want to say one-lined, but there's going to be a main line that everybody will do through both of them. And I just don't see anything being abnormally different where someone's going to be taking a different line that's going to be faster. I think everyone's going to funnel into the same one, so it's about setting up passes and probably utilizing that short whoop section to your advantage. The one kind of like unique part of the track is back here after the finish line jump. There's a split section where there's left is 4 jumps and right is 3 jumps. That seems like it'd be pretty one-lined as well. And then a wall jump into a sand section that goes for a pretty long time here. Nobody on the Supercross circuit liked Atlanta's sand section from 2018, I believe it was, where it was a wall jump into a sand section and they got blasted. Several riders saying it's probably the worst feature in Supercross history. But here we are again. We got another wall jump into a sand section and people are going to get blasted and the fans are going to love it and the riders are going to hate it. And yeah, that's going to be something we'll definitely talk about a lot this week. And I'm sure we'll hear Ralph and Ricky talk so much about the sand this week. I can already hear Ralph yelling about it. Here comes the sand every time. Going to be so exciting. Can't wait to listen to it this weekend. Because I'm not going to Atlanta. I'm going to be sitting at home watching on the couch and probably kicking back a brewski or two, just enjoying life. And but if you're going this weekend, I hope you have a lovely time and enjoy it. Atlanta always seems like a party race, I would say, is a good way of putting it. Like, it's the halfway point of the season, and then when it used to be at the Georgia Dome, now it's at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium or whatever you want to call it. When it was at the Georgia Dome, it seemed like it was like always a sellout, big deal. A lot of people in the southern states would come to the race. And not that it's not that way in the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I just feel like the Georgia Dome brought that vibe a little bit more. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Atlanta fans, you can kind of tell me whether I'm stupid or not. But yeah, it's just like the party in the South, and DMXS has a big party the night before, and there's a lot of, I don't know, I feel like hype around this race, the red clay, etc. Like just a lot of cool things. And it's the halfway point of the season, like I said, so a lot of things to talk about with that. But yeah, I like Atlanta. I'm sure one of these years I'll end up going, maybe for Racer X, maybe just for fun, I don't know, but definitely one of those that I want to go check out and kind of experience for myself. Anyway, let's talk about the upcoming race this weekend. 3rd round of the 250 East Series, 9th round of the 450 Championship, and probably the biggest news I would say are like the kind of injury updates of the week. First of all, Cooper Webb is in for this weekend's race at Atlanta. He had a hematoma. Gosh, I can't say that word. Every time I say it, I say like hematoma. Hematoma in his sacrum and pelvis, which sounds like he's kind of already fairly healed from. Not fully, but like it's not going to bother him too much from this past crash that he had in Arlington, which was gnarly. I don't know how he's going to be able to ride this weekend, but he says he's good. KTM says he's good, so I'll take their word for it. So that's pretty gnarly. And Cooper Webb, I think, is 36 or so points out in the championship at this point, so he's got a lot of work to do in terms of salvaging his championship hopes at this point. I think he's that far down. He's probably somewhere around the 30 range, I believe. And he's got a big battle ahead of him to try to salvage any sort of a championship hope, and it's not going to help that he's obviously probably a little bit beaten and battered this week as well, so he probably didn't get much riding in, and then he's not going to be fully prepared for this weekend. But he did win at Atlanta last year, so, you know, if you're superstitious or whatever, he was good here. But beyond Webb, we have some injuries to talk about. First of all, Adam Cianciarulo broke his collarbone, and he basically said it was better than he thought, like it wasn't as bad of a break as initially expected. I'm not usually sure what that means because there's two ways to go about it. You could either just kind of crack your collarbone so that it's not fully broken or sheared off at any point. It's just kind of cracked, which I've done before. I've cracked my collarbone that way. Or you could like full-blown break your collarbone where it dislodges and it's in like a different spot and it has to move and stuff like that, which at that point you get it plated, and usually the healing process is fairly quick for that. Not really quick, but you know, like maybe a month or so turnaround. Like it seems like the worst case scenario is compound fracture or something along those lines, where you have multiple breaks and you have to really kind of string it all together, but I don't think that's the case with Cianciarulo. So he says he's trying to get back on the track as soon as possible. I've seen people come back from collarbone injuries as soon as the next week. I've seen people take a month and a half for a collarbone injury. At this point, Cianciarulo's out of the championship hunt, so there's no real use in him coming back when he's not fully ready, but yeah, we'll just have to see how that goes. Brock Tickle broke his hand. He got collected with another rider in the first main event, and the JGR injury bug just keeps on biting. It seems to never go away, and now Tickle is the most recent person to be bitten by that one. Broken hand sounds like it's going to be a thing that keeps him out for at least a month or so, if not more. Hopefully he can make it back and have some good rides before the season's done, so at least kind of makes getting this ride with JGR a little bit more worthwhile. But that's a bummer, and never want to see injuries. But for Tickle, it was just like, oh my gosh, he just comes off of suspension. He gets a factory ride. He pretty well in Tampa, and looking to probably improve on that this past weekend in Arlington, and then breaks his hand, and it's just like, gosh, what do you got to do, man? Just no luck for the guy, unfortunately. So a couple injuries to talk about in the 450 class. So it kind of leaves us with, I feel like a two-man race for this championship, which it almost felt like it was going towards that direction anyway until Cooper Webb picked up a win in San Diego and kind of made this thing a little bit more of a championship fight. But I think it's down to Roczen and Tomac going forward. I really don't think Cooper can come back from as far down as he is unless both of Roczen and Tomac have a really bad race and lose a lot of points, which is possible, but I think it's honestly going to need even more than that. That's just, I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, beyond that point, though, I do think it's down to Roczen and Tomac, and I said this in my review discussion this past Monday, where I was like, I really think that this is Tomac's like to lose at this point. He's only got a 7-point lead on Kenny, which doesn't sound like a lot, and knowing Tomac, it can go at any point, right? But Ken Roczen has historically had some rough second half of his anything. Like even when he was winning outdoor titles, except for in 2016, which was super dominant, but when he won the outdoor title in 14, it was kind of like a little bit tougher for him to string off wins, and Dungey started catching him late in that season. And then, you know, we've already seen how many times Roczen has had the red plate early in the season and then lost it and then ends up losing the title by a huge chunk of points. So that's what I'm saying, is that it's almost like we're set up for this scenario where Roczen will have his second half slump, Tomac will find his second half groove, and then before you know it, we'll be crowning a champion in Vegas at round 16 instead of Salt Lake at round 17. Personally, I'd like to see the championship go down, you know, to the very end. I'm always on that boat, you know, regardless of who wins. I just hope that we have a championship fight that lasts the entire season. But I think that Eli Tomac is truly the man to beat moving forward, and that's good. I was really actually going to be bummed if Tomac never won a Supercross title. Like, that would just be such an unfortunate chink in an armor for someone that has so many wins and such a big history in this sport at this point. now that he's probably going to be able to win the title this year, I'm a lot more satisfied with his career holistically. Obviously, he still needs to actually wrap it up, but if he wins 3 outdoor titles and a Supercross title, I think he could retire and be happy with that if he wins nothing else. I think he's done after the 2021 season when his contract with Kawasaki ends. I think that's most likely when Kawasaki pulls Faulkner up into the 450 class at that point after he wins most likely a title next year. Oh my goodness, how did I just do this? What? Oh my goodness, how did I just get stuck on the pole? Wow, that was really unique. I don't think I've ever done that before. That was hilarious. So yeah, I mean, Tomac has the potential to probably win 2 Supercross titles and 5 outdoor titles before he, in my opinion, probably chooses to retire at the end of 2021. But yeah, we'll see it. And maybe he goes longer. I don't know. It seems like these guys, it's always tough to gauge because it seemed like Dungey was going to go for like 5 or 6 more years after Villo retired, and he only went 3. Well, really only like 2.5, I guess. But they like almost pinned it as like Dungey is going to start winning titles. He's hashtag who's next. And then he was done after he picked up a couple more titles and like he had been satisfied. So it's like if Eli Tomac is satisfied after winning a Supercross title, wins the outdoor title this year, he probably is going to be, totally fine with leaving in 2021 when his contract is up. So that's just what I'm saying with that. But we don't know. Maybe he isn't satisfied and he wants to win 6 titles or whatever, and then he won't retire till he's Chad Reed's age. Who knows? I'm just saying it's a definite thing that we have to consider because he did only sign till that end of the 2021 season. But yeah, I think that in the 450 class, we're just looking at a little bit more straightforward championship battle. Racing-wise, yeah, I mean, maybe Jason Anderson could get a win. Ken Roxon obviously can still win. When Webb is back to full strength, I think he can absolutely win races, and we'll probably see him win lots of races this year after he gets back from this, injury fully. But I think Tomac has been really smart at the beginning of this season, and I think he's kind of at this point already proved that his championship mentality is fully in sync this year, and he's going to, in my opinion, clinch his title. So I hate to say that halfway in the season. I'd like to see it go further, like I said, but he's looking really strong, so we'll keep an eye on that moving forward. 250-wise, I like where we are in this 250 class right now. We have 2, I think, like elite guys to kind of point at in this championship in Sexton and McElrath. But then we have a myriad of other stories going on. Jeremy Martin could catch fire in the second half of the season and put his name in this championship battle. I mean, we're only going to be in the 3rd round, and he's had 2 really good rides. And this is Martin's MO. I even talked about it at the beginning of the season where it's like he starts slow, and by the midpoint of the season, he's found his groove. He starts clicking off wins. Like, if that happens, he's fully in this championship hunt because he's done well to start the year where it hasn't, gone against his favor or anything like that. But McElrath and Sexton, I think, have been just 1 notch higher than everybody else on the track these first couple rounds. And I think where that proves it the most is that even though Hampshire won the first main event this past week in Arlington, like Sexton was taken down by Hampshire and then basically passed everybody to get back into second. And McElrath started in like 13th or 15th or something like that and basically passed everybody to get 3rd. So, they can start pretty far back and charge through the field even in a shorter main event like that one, 10 minutes plus a lap, when they're normally going 15 minutes plus a lap. So I think that just kind of goes to show like where their speed and talent is currently, and I think that they're primed in good positions to fight amongst themselves for the championship. And who knows, maybe their fight amongst each other kind of boils over to a point and it allows other people to get back into championship discussion. Not that I'm saying any of these guys are out of championship discussion. I think Hampshire or Martin or whoever could win this week in Atlanta and it would absolutely assert themselves right back into the championship picture. But through 2 rounds, this is kind of where we're at, where I think it's Sexton and McElrath moving forward. But I'm excited to see. I would really, really love to see more guys start winning races. I really think Jeremy Martin is going to win races. I want Hampshire to win a race. It'd be cool to see Smith or Marchbanks win a race. Just a myriad of different possibilities for sure in this 250 class, which is always nice to see that there's kind of diversity of talent. Like we basically have 3 elite guys in the West, and I think right now we have 3 to 5 elite guys in the East. And all those guys potentially, or at least hopefully, will be in the 450 class within a couple of years. And then we have you know, 6-7 guys that are all elite 250F guys now in the 450 class as other 450 veterans start moving out and retiring. So yeah, just a couple things that, you know, I always enjoy about the 250 class is that you get a real idea of maybe looking forward to the future of what we're looking at. Like, I'm sure when Dungey and Villapoto were winning titles in 2010 through 2017, and we're watching, you know, Adam Cianciarulo, Cooper Webb, Eli Tomac, Ken Roczen, all these guys go through the 250 class and racing each other. You know, at some point you have to look at that as like, yeah, that was the future of the sport. We saw it happening. And when the elite at that time left, those guys became the elite of their current generation. So you almost have to look at it in the same sense that, like, when Roczen and Tomac and Musquin and Anderson and these guys decide it's finally, you know, their time to hang up the boots, they're going to be overtaken by these Ferrandis, Sexton, McElrath, Justin Cooper, Austin Faulkner. Like, these guys are going to move up to the 450 class and be, you know, namestays for the next 5 to 7 years or so. Not that, you know, this matters right now or anything like that, but just something to, like, kind of key into when you're looking at both coasts that, yeah, these guys don't actually race each other together all but, you know, a couple times on the season for Supercross, but you can almost look at them as, like, picking out the next future 450 Supercross champions, or at least, you know, championship hopefuls when they're going to move up here pretty soon. Like, Ferrandis and Sexton are both forced out of the class at the end of this year because they have already, you know, gone through their title defense, or they're currently in their title defense, and you only get to defend once. If you don't win in your rookie season you get to defend twice, but neither of them did. And so Ferrandis is looking for a ride next year. Chase Sexton's already got a ride. He's going to be on Honda HRC. And we're getting to the point in the season, and why I'm bringing this up, where those contract discussions are going to start going on. Like, it's crazy to think about, but yeah, like, usually you hear about around Daytona-ish time, guys starting to sign contracts for 2021. You know, for 450s, 250s, whatever, a myriad of things. But guys are already, you know, in talks and working on contracts as we speak. And not that we'll hear about that right now. I'm sure it'll be later on in the season. We'll probably hear rumors like, oh, Ferrandis is in a Yamaha, so who's out, and things like that. But, you know, just a couple things to obviously kind of keep an eye on as we move forward in the next couple weeks, of some rumor mills floating around and some things to talk about in this 250 division. Winners for the weekend, I'm going to go ahead and pick... I think Ken Roczen wins this weekend, just because I think... I don't know. I think that he needs it, more or less. I think he needs to go out and win this weekend to, you know, just say that he can still reasonably fight for this championship and not give Tomac a huge points gap after Daytona. Like, everybody, I think, thinks Tomac's going to win Daytona, so if he wins Atlanta, then wins Daytona, he's got, you know, a mid to high double-digit points lead already in the teens. And, you know, that's a unfortunate, or like a difficult situation for Roczen to have to work around, to be, you know, farther down in the standings like that. So anyway, I think it's probably between Tomac and Roczen this weekend, but I'll pick Roczen. Tomac probably finishes second, or at least on the box. And then 250 class, I say McElrath wins this weekend. I think that the Triple Crowns aided Sexton a little bit, but I think that McElrath is a better starter, and I think he'll start in front of Sexton and just be a little bit too fast for him to keep up with, and McElrath wins 250s this weekend. So Roczen and McElrath for me. Love to hear what you guys would pick for this weekend, what you guys are thinking, and just some either discussions or thoughts on what I had to say in this video. Always appreciate that as well. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. Another video here on Start Your Systems, talking about the 2020 Atlanta Supercross coming up this weekend and playing an MX Simulator. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.